Schoolgirls, schoolboys, and sexual harassment. Some experts now say it's becoming an epidemic.
In the Southwest, another confirmed death from a mysterious and lethal disease. Is it spreading to other parts of the country?
And Eye on America. Tonight, chiropractors and children. What is safe and who's keeping track?
It's very gentle and very safe.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Leading women educators are charging tonight that schools in America are tolerating an epidemic of sexual harassment. In a national survey, 4 out of 5 teenagers said they had been harassed in school, and most felt there was little they could do about it. Correspondent Jacqueline Adams has the story.
It happens a lot here in the school. It happened to me.
He was talking about my behind and everything like that. Just want to like crawl in a hole and just stay there and just shut everybody out.
Many students believe the fine line between flirting and sexual harassment is being crossed regularly. So much, in fact, that researchers say it's reached epidemic proportions.
It really interferes with your ability to go to school, your right to go to school, your ability to concentrate, to stick with it.
According to a Harris survey released today by the American Association of University Women, a staggering 81% of students in grades 8 through 11 report they have been harassed in school, most of them by other students. Girls aren't the only victims. 76% of boys say they, too, have endured unwanted jokes, taunts, and even groping.
If they come out and say, oh, I've been harassed, they're going to think of themselves as, being sissies,
Officials at Somerville High in Massachusetts have drafted definitions and punishments for sexual harassment, yet some teachers confess they're confused.
We're having all these workshops about something that, gee, was I wrong all those years? I didn't think it was so bad. I still don't.
It's going on in public places, and teachers and school leaders need to understand that by not addressing it, they are in effect condoning it.
That's why Jonna Manone filed a first-in-the-nation lawsuit in federal court against her Woodbridge, Connecticut high school. Manone's lawyer says a male student repeatedly humiliated the girl in class.
At one point in time, he said he was going to take her into the bushes and rape her. He also physically assaulted her, grabbing her breasts.
The student charges that when she complained to a teacher, nothing was done. Jonna Manone hopes her lawsuit will encourage other students to fight back and teach the teachers that sexual harassment must not continue in the nation's classrooms. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
In Washington tonight, a major development on the consumer health front. Federal officials say they have decided to ban those so-called anti-smoking products which are sold over the counter. Starting December 1, the ban will affect dozens of non-prescription pills, tablets, lozenges, and chewing gum, all supposedly made to help you quit smoking. The government says they just don't work. The ban will not affect nicotine patches and other products which are prescribed by doctors.
More reported victims, but still no answers about a mystery flu-like illness that can kill. It was first discovered in the Southwest. But now, fear is spreading to other parts of the country, and so are suspected cases of the disease. Correspondent Sandra Hughes has an update.
The cause of the insidious disease that struck in and around the Navajo reservation remains a mystery tonight. It attacks the young and healthy. 13 have now died. Altogether, 21 have been stricken by the unknown flu-like illness, and many more cases are being investigated, including some possible links in other states. All but 2 of the confirmed victims lived on or near the reservation, adjoining the 4 corners of New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. And researchers have also found many of the cases are clustered.
How they're related, other than the fact that they are related in an extended family and live in a localized area in a rural part of the Navajo reservation, we do not know.
Investigators admit they are no closer to finding the cause or a cure. They only know that victims have flu-like symptoms. As the cases mount, so does the panic on the 200,000-acre reservation.
I wish the health department would get their act together and, do something about it right away.
Concerned Navajo officials have even called in medicine men to fight the unknown. Tribal leaders have also started a radio campaign urging Native Americans to cooperate with investigators.
It has been the most frustrating experience for me because you don't know what you're dealing with. What do you tell people?
Clinics and hospitals across the Navajo reservation area are being swamped by people who think they have the disease. Investigators can only hope these cases really are the flu and not the unknown killer. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Whatever this unknown killer finally turns out to be, it won't be the first medical mystery to baffle the experts. Then and now, it takes time to get to the bottom of a mystery illness. Analysis, context, and perspective from CBS News health correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott.
In the 1970s, these veterans in Philadelphia were the first to suffer a mystery illness. Named Legionnaire's disease, it took researchers months to discover the cause, bacteria in the hotel's air conditioning system. In the 1980s, a mystery disease was found among homosexual men. It was first believed to be a cancer, later discovered to be the HIV virus. Now, in the 1990s, Native Americans may be the first to suffer this decade's mystery illness, but they may not be alone. Doctors are attempting to link this death last March in Philadelphia and illnesses in Colorado, Utah, and Kansas to the Navajo disease. The victims all suffer what is called respiratory distress syndrome. Patients begin to breathe faster, then become short of breath. Blood oxygen levels drop, and water fills the lungs until patients can no longer breathe on their own. The illness has dozens of possible causes, including bacteria, fungus, viruses, drugs, or toxic gases. The most common causes have already been ruled out by sophisticated laboratory techniques.
It's not a common bacterium, parasite, or fungus. It could be a virus because viruses are harder to detect, at least initially.
How in an age of high technology and instant diagnosis could a mystery illness remain unsolved for more than a few days? Because researchers get many of their answers the old-fashioned way, by following thousands of different clues with plain, hard detective work. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, New York.
Straight ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a battleground in Serbia as police clash with protesters.
And Eye on America. Tonight, chiropractors and children, the growing debate.
What could compare to Baskin-Robbins ice cream? How about our fantabulous yogurt? Nothing tops it. Uh-oh. Did I say top it? Woohoo! Come on, get that 30 wonderful feeling with yogurt.
So what do you want from the 90s? Well, the Oldsmobile Achieva Special Edition can't give you that. But it does have air, automatic, anti-lock brakes, cruise, tilt, power windows and locks, and more. And it costs only $14,695, which could leave you feeling very good about yourself. It's your money.
At Econo Lodges all over America, pick up an entry form and you could win one of 7 $50,000 giveaways in the sweepstakes they call Choiceosaurus. Thousands of great dinosaur prizes are waiting. Call 1-800-4CHOICE today.
Serbian gunners stepped up their attack on Muslim enclaves in Bosnia today, making a mockery of the UN plan backed by President Clinton for so-called safe havens. Near Sarajevo, Muslims buried the victims of yesterday's soccer field slaughter. 15 people were killed when Serbian shells tore through the crowd at a holiday pickup game.
And violence is spreading to Serbia itself in the wake of a power play by the ruling hardliners. One policeman died and dozens of people were injured as anti-government protesters went on a rampage in the capital of Belgrade. Alan Pizzi reports.
The streets of Belgrade turned into a battleground when police tried to break up the demonstration protesting the dismissal of the Yugoslavian president. The demonstrators threw rocks. The riot police drew them back. For a while, it looked like the protesters had the upper hand, but it didn't last. Tear gas drove them back. Opposition leader Vuk Draskovic laid the blame for the upheaval at the feet of Serbia's ultra-nationalists.
That's shame of all of us.
Early this morning, Draskovic was arrested and later brought to a clinic by police. Doctors said he looked as if he had been beaten. The police are seen as tools of the Serb ultranationalists who want a greater Serbia, including the Serb part of Bosnia. The pro-democracy opposition considers the nationalists a gang of thugs who are responsible for dragging Serbia into the war in Bosnia. There is also widespread discontent over the staggering economy, ravaged both by the cost of supporting the Bosnia war and the sanctions it brought down on the Serbs. Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic is seen as forging an unholy alliance with ultranationalist Vojislav Šešelj, an alleged war criminal. The rioting was triggered by an incident in which an ultranationalist punched an opposition politician unconscious in the lobby of parliament. The ousted president, Dobrica Ćosić, accused Milosevic of being a Stalinist who wanted to mount a coup and rule by force. Milosevic seems to be gambling that he can maintain power by fear. For the moment, at least, he seems to be succeeding. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, London.
With 90% of the votes counted, a pro-Western opposition party seems headed for an upset election win in Cambodia. The government, backed by communist Vietnam, is grumbling about what it calls election irregularities, but UN officials say they expect the government to accept the results.
Now from around the world, more CBS News. In South Africa, Winnie Mandela said she was relieved after an appeals court reduced her 6-year prison sentence for kidnapping and assault to a $5,000 fine. Her estranged husband, Nelson Mandela, said he was happy she would not have to go to prison.
Demonstrators are demanding prison for 3 Detroit police officers charged with murder and assault for beating a man to death near a suspected crack house. Jury selection in their trial began today.
A jury in Texas convicted Gary Graham of murdering a man during a holdup, and he was scheduled to be executed tomorrow. But today, the state's highest criminal court granted a stay. Graham says he has new evidence that he is innocent.
And 2 boatloads of Chinese immigrants were arrested in Northern California today as they tried to enter the country illegally. The Chinese, more than 200 of them, left home 40 days ago and had run out of food and water.
Stay with us for more of the CBS Evening News, including the latest on crack cocaine. Finally, some good news.
Why Centrum Silver? Because you're over 50 and you're just hitting your stride. Centrum Silver vitamins. Because the latest scientific research about changing nutritional needs after 50 is built in. Centrum Silver. It's a great time to be silver.
One shot. All it takes for weeds. Roundup.
Quality results depend on making the right investments. And at Ford Motor Company, that begins with our employees. We invest over $20 million each month in the continuing education and training of our employees, and they, in turn, teach us new things every day. The bottom line, increased motivation and an obsession with quality.
At Ford, an investment in education is an investment in quality.
Ford Motor Company, quality is job one. It's working.
Think you've seen it all on TV talk shows? Wait till you see what goes on behind the scenes. Everybody's talking, and all new 48 Hours tonight.
Some good news about the economy today, but even the good news isn't all that good. The government says new home sales in April hit a 6-year high, but many economists say it's just a blip and chalk it up to cheap interest rates and spring weather. A better gauge of where the economy is heading, they say, is the government's index of leading economic indicators. The index was up barely in April after a sharp drop in March.
Another market seems to be getting smaller, and this would be good news if it holds true. As correspondent Giselle Fernandez reports tonight, the hard truth about crack cocaine may finally be getting through to kids on the street before a whole new generation is wasted.
For the past 10 years, it's been the most pervasive and destructive drug in America's inner cities. Now, experts say crack cocaine may finally be on the decline.
Anything would burn itself out after a while.
Has crack burned itself out?
No, the people are burning themselves out.
Tyrone Lanier, a recovering crack addict, says make no mistake, crack vials and their colored caps still litter the streets. People are still using.
I can stand and see the traffic coming back and forth, and I don't see very many new faces.
And that, say experts, is what's so significant. Crack use may remain high among adults already addicted, but it's luring fewer new recruits, like Tony.
I've seen so many things happen to people that use crack.
So has 13-year-old Anthony. His father was an addict. He says he doesn't want to end up like his dad.
It made him forget about things. He was not going where he wanted to go. He just kept on going out there, getting his drugs, coming back, doing it.
It's that personal encounter with the drug and people who've used it that really sends a message to the young people.
But turning away from crack doesn't mean kids are turning away from drugs.
Heroin, speedballing, and that's mixing the cocaine and the heroin and smoking it. Okay, that is definitely on the rise.
Among kids?
Yes, among your adolescents.
So while crack may be on the decline, say experts, it's by no means any indication that we're winning the war on drugs. But what it may tell us, they say, is this, that showing kids the lethal effects of drug use may be a more effective deterrent than just telling them to say no. Giselle Fernandez, CBS News, New York.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, more evidence of compromises ahead from President Clinton.
It sizzles like summer, and it won't last long. Introducing Red Lobster's Summer Seafood Feast, one of our biggest seafood combinations, just $9.99, with scallops hot off the grill, fried clams, a fish fillet, plus you get 2 kinds of shrimp, succulent scampi, and golden fried shrimp. Wow, 5 kinds of seafood for an incredibly low $9.99. So hurry in and feast tonight, because the Summer Seafood Feast ends soon, only at Red Lobster.
Fire from beneath the mountains gave the land its richness, and the land gave the richness to the coffee of Colombia. That's why Maxwell House uses more Colombian beans than anyone in America, because better beans make better coffee. The coffees of Maxwell House, blended with rich Colombian beans, always good to the last drop.
It has a 214 horsepower 24-valve V6. It also has more interior room than a Lexus LS 400. Cab forward design gives it a wide track for aggressive handling. It also has dual airbags and computerized traction control. Introducing the Chrysler LHS. The American luxury car is now in the fast lane.
There's a killer in Navajo country, preying upon the young and healthy and stealing their lives within 24 hours. The mystery Indian illness tomorrow on CBS This Morning.
CBS News correspondent Linda Douglas confirmed tonight that the health care reform proposals from President and Mrs. Clinton are being delayed again, this time until at least sometime in July. White House aides now say that the president's economic package has to clear Congress before they tackle health care. They deny increasing reports that the health care package could be on hold until September.
As Dan first reported here last night, President Clinton's nominee for a key post in the Justice Department is fading fast. And while White House Press Secretary Dee Dee Myers denied it, Mr. Clinton himself seemed to suggest otherwise today. Law correspondent Rita Braver has our follow-up report.
President Clinton today seemed to acknowledge that the Senate is unlikely to confirm Lani Guinier, his embattled nominee to head the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. And though he praised her as a first-rate civil rights lawyer who's been misquoted, he distanced himself from Guinier.
A lot of the attacks cannot be supported by a fair reading of the writings. And that's not to say that I agree with everything in the writings. I don't. But I think that a lot of what has been said is not accurate. On the other hand, I have to take into account where the Senate is, and I will be doing that and talking to them.
Senators are riled up over Guinier's criticisms of traditional majority rule. She claims minorities don't get fair representation in many legislatures. Instead of the usual single-member voting districts, she proposes multi-member districts, where all voters get as many votes to cast as there are seats. She says this would offer a fair chance for minority groups to have their policy preferences satisfied. Her critics claim that amounts to a quota system.
She does not appear to be within the mainstream of American jurisprudence. and that she does not appear to be a person who would be against quotas or against pitting one group against another.
Her supporters insist it's not true.
And they have taken her text out of context, which is a pretext. They have done violence to her intellectually, and they have been engaged in discrediting and distorting tactics.
Guinier's supporters say conservatives are attacking her to avenge the Senate defeat of Robert Bork's Supreme Court nomination. Conservatives insist they're merely giving Guinier equal scrutiny.
But her views are not the views of most Americans, and she should not be confirmed.
Administration sources say the White House is seeking a graceful way to withdraw the nomination. Guinier was chosen because she's an old friend of the president and Mrs. Clinton, and popular with civil rights leaders, who are now angry because of the White House's lack of support for Guinier. Rita Braver, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up next, Eye on America. Chiropractors treating children. Is it as helpful as some are claiming?
Just a regular adjustment today.
Ed McMahon makes friends the easy way, handing over $10 million prizes.
You're set for life now.
Yeah, it's really great. I never dreamed we'd win big.
Imagine if we hadn't entered.
Oh, don't even think about that. Oh, and don't you think about not entering. The envelope with my picture is in the mail right now. You may have the $10 million number. Return it in time and you'll be a millionaire 10 times over very, very soon. Enter today.
You're about to see a whole new side of Effordent. Introducing two-layered Effordent. The white side helps clean and deodorize with Arm & Hammer baking soda. The blue side also has more mint to provide more freshening power than ever before, making this the best Effordent ever. Introducing two-layered Effordent. Clean, fresh dentures come out of the blue.
My wife asked me for a diamond. So naturally, I went to True Value. But the guy got me the right brush, roller, all the right stuff. He even kidded me. Paint it and he will come, he said. Will he ever face a big league hitter? Who knows? But judging from the drool on his chin, I'd be waiting on the spitball.
Why did Hertz invent #1 Club Gold service? To beat the rush hour. See, every plane and everybody seems to land at once. But with Gold service, there's no stopping at the counters and no paperwork. Instead, you go nonstop to your waiting car with your name in lights. Only Hertz has #1 Club Gold. The best reason yet why Hertz beats the rush hour. To Hertz, the rest of the day is a piece of cake.
Consider this. Your child is ill. Do you take him to a pediatrician who might prescribe medicine, or would you take the child to a chiropractor who might adjust his spine? Well, more and more often, parents are choosing the chiropractor, as Bob Fall reports in tonight's Eye on America.
Come on in, Josh.
Once every 2 weeks, chiropractor Deborah Levinson treats patient Josh Halliday.
And we have a little bit of a shortness on the left side.
Josh is only 7 weeks old.
You're doing so good.
Josh comes to the clinic so chiropractors can adjust or straighten his spinal column to help relieve colic.
That a boy. It doesn't take very much pressure. It's very gentle and very safe.
He doesn't have as many screaming attacks with the gas since he's been getting adjusted. He just seems to be happier.
For chiropractors, treating children is the new frontier of booming, lucrative business. But as more chiropractors become primary caregivers, treating children not just for aches and pains, but for disease, the debate is heating up. Will these children get the treatment they need?
Come on, Silas. Can you jump up on that table yourself? You need a boost.
Silas McGee, not quite 2 years old, is being treated by chiropractor David Levinson for allergies and ear infections.
Good job. You're done. That's it, buddy. You're clear.
He's just handled everything so much better. His immune system is working so much better to fight all of the viruses.
Think that's amazing? Listen to what this chiropractor says happened when he treated a 5-year-old in a coma most of his life.
And that child opened his eyes, turned his head to the left. It's etched in my mind. It was such an outstanding case. So as parents, he got off my table, looked over his shoulder and he said, Mom and Dad, can we go home now?
We couldn't confirm that, but we did learn that not all patients go home happy. When Jody Blinker was 13, her chiropractor kept insisting her spine was curved, even though x-rays showed it was not.
He should have known what he was talking about, that he should have known that it wasn't that bad.
And MDs complain that what chiropractors don't know about kids could kill them. When Brian Hawley was 17, his chiropractor treated him for a pinched nerve, which was really a cancerous tumor, and Brian almost died.
It makes me mad to think that he could do to somebody what he did to me and almost kill him, you know what I mean?
I think Brian came about as close to dying as anyone I've seen from a delayed diagnosis.
Oncologist Daniel Rushing found the tumor. Brian's chiropractor missed.
I can't imagine how we can justify chiropractors being primary caregivers for children when we don't even know the efficacy of what they do.
You might expect criticism like that from the established medical community. What is surprising is that some of the sharpest criticism is coming from other chiropractors.
Infants are not all solid bone. I mean, they're still developing. So, you know, this racking and cracking is totally unnecessary.
Can harm be done to children?
Absolutely.
Face down.
Fact is, only a handful of chiropractors are treating children, and parents keep bringing them back because the treatment here makes problems like 4-year-old Harry Pritchett's asthma virtually disappear.
That's it. Beautiful.
It's phenomenal. Maybe it doesn't work for everybody, but it flat worked for him. I'll swear up and down on it.
Chiropractic has, I think, gotten to this level of acceptance based on one thing, and that's that it works.
Hearing that, much of the medical establishment winces and argues that testimonials are no substitute for scientific data.
Manipulation is not a substitution for vaccinations, and I'm concerned that some chiropractors are practicing outside the scope of what they should be.
Let it just relax. It's okay. Just a regular adjustment today.
An old practice then, but a new debate.
That's it. Good.
Helping or hurting? Patients too young to tell the difference.
Okay.
In Cumming, Georgia, this is Bob Fall for Eye on America.
What do you say?
Thank you. You're welcome.
And that's part of our world tonight. Coming up later on this CBS station, 48 Hours. Tonight, we go behind the scenes to investigate America's talk show craze, including a candid interview with pioneer Phil Donahue. That's 48 Hours. Everybody's talking. Tonight at 10 Eastern and Pacific Time, 9 o'clock just about everywhere else.
Dan and I will see you tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
Good night, Connie. Good night, everybody.